Welcome to a review discussion on Let's Talk Games. I'm Jamie, and there's Chunt over there. Usually the man in the middle,
Hi.
but he's the man to my left today, rather than the man in the middle.
Yes.
Chunt, we're going to talk about that Pokémons that we've been playing for a week straight, actually. It's a week since release.
Yep.
That seems to have gone like super quick, doesn't it?
Oh yes, I've spent far too much time in this game in such a short amount of time for me anyway. Yes.
What's your internal clock saying?
I think it was like 40. Hang on, I've got it on me. 45:19.
That is slightly more than me. I think I'm about 28 was when I finished up last night. So we both finished the A line, if you like. I'm pretty sure we both finished the post as well. Except that I haven't finished the final post-game boss yet, which I will do at some point today. This is going to be kind of a free-form discussion just based on the fact that, you know, we've had some time to collate our thoughts over the last week, kind of as we've had the experience and as it's moved forward. So I'll let you start with the kind of spoiler-free take, because I might clip this up and just put a spoiler-free thing out.
Yep.
Spoiler-free take on the adventure you've had this last week in history.
Oh my god, yes. Well, I won't spoil how you appear in the land. That was a surprise for me. I didn't really think about that, how they did it, but anyway. So you're pretty much fresh eyes, just like the rest of us are, or people like me who aren't really Pokemon aficionados. This is like my first Pokemon game in a very long time. So I felt at home with this new character and everybody not really knowing who he is, and you find your way through the story and you build relationships in the town of Jubilife. And you go through the ranks of succession, avoiding spoilers. But I really liked that. Like the story that they build around Jubilife and the people that you meet there, I found very endearing, and I enjoyed the characters that you come across, which I'm glad. A lot of these games, I don't really kind of latch on to many characters in these types of RPGs or like Japanese games. Like I don't really play a lot of them, but particularly with Pokemon, it's a kid's game, some people would say, but I found the characters really enjoyable. It reminded me of very early Naruto. You know, that's just the vibe I got, and it's probably the setting as well. But the setting itself, I think, lent very much to my experience with this game and the story overall. Very fresh. It took away from all the modern stuff and all the high-tech stuff that Pokemon's been filled with, and most games are, and it was very nice just to go back to kind of an old-school Japanese kind of setting. But you're tasked to build the first Pokedex, which is cool. I enjoyed that as the main focus of the game. Consider this a very, very heavy departure from traditional Pokemon games without really spoiling things too much, even though I'm probably alluding to some big changes there anyway. But for me, if you're in an entry point, this is a great way to start. You're not thrown into the depths of mechanics over the last 20 years or however long this franchise has been around for in the successive mainline games. This is kind of very much if you go watch the first couple episodes of the original Pokemon series, it's very much like that, where you're just walking around the forest and the lands and throwing Pokeballs at animals and catching them, and it's not so focused on battles, and it's just all about the adventure. But even the lands that you come across, they're quite varied, which I was pleased to see. I thought there was going to be a lot of the sameness around every corner of the map, but it was refreshing to see the different locations, biomes and whatnot. Lots of exploring to do. I guarantee you, if you explore the levels, you will find stuff. So I'm pretty sure there's Easter eggs in this game that allude to other Pokemon, other stories, because it's set in the past. What is foretold? Like I don't know how that all comes together, and that's one of my points later on to ask you because you know more about it. But even during the post game, I find myself exploring the maps a lot more, and I find like these alpha Pokemon, like real big ones that I've never seen during the rest of the game previous. But the post game comes along, I'm like, oh wow, there's all these new Pokemon that I didn't see throughout the whole adventure, and yeah, I can't say like too much about the story because there is a lot in here that the trailers and stuff didn't show, right? And if you avoided the trailers or if you only watched the trailers, things that I say during the game are going to be very spoilerish. If you're a fan of the Diamond and Pearl games, I looked into it a bit, and if you're a fan of the Diamond and Pearl games, you'll get a lot more out of this than probably me, who was totally oblivious. There's a lot of cues to those games in the through line of what this adventure is, and I think some of the characters, or at least some of the aesthetics and the sounds in particular, and particular key Pokemon make appearances in this game. So I'm interested to see that brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, whatever came out. I'm interested to see your perspective on how that might tie into this, because I'm only surmising that it might. Like, it's the release of it is pretty close, and it seems like it was a logical decision to do it at the same time to marry the two. But yeah, you really can't say much else that I don't think would spoil much, Jamie, because even you would know. You avoided a lot of the spoilers and a lot of the talk of the town and what was actually in the game. How much more do you think I could cover without really giving it all away? Like the whole purpose of the game.
No, I don't think you can. I mean, if you're not spoiling it, I gather that you would highly recommend this not only to lapsed fans but to new people entering the series.
Well, as myself, like I was mentioning earlier, I have played 2 Pokemon games really when it comes down to it. And if you saw our previous Downloading Soon, where I mentioned I'm a Gen 1 guy, Pokemon Blue and Pokemon X, like they're the only real 2 mainline games I've played. So coming into this, I had my doubts and apprehensions because I'm like, I'm not going to recognize any Pokemon in this. But I came away quite refreshed and found a couple of new favorites that I didn't expect, that I'd never seen before. So if you are a Gen 1er, like purist, just, dive in there. You'll find some new buddies. And there's a lot of alphas, and I've caught them all as alphas. So I've got a massive alpha team. All of my Pokemon are alphas, really. It's pretty cool. But yeah, highly recommend, man. Like, I've been trying to get my brother to get it. He's like me. He doesn't play a lot of Pokemon, but I'm like, mate, you got to play this. And other people, even at work, we talk about games and stuff, and they're like, oh, have you played the new Pokemon game? I'm like, yes, I have. It's fantastic. And people throw around the adage, it's the Breath of the Wild for Pokemon. It's a Breath of the Wild moment for Pokemon. And like, I hate that, but it's true. It really is. And I hope this is a new thing. I really do. I am already wanting the next one. And I just hope it doesn't overcomplicate itself on the next one. One of my points later on to discuss is that very point, but I won't just jump into it. But yeah, Jamie, so your experience with it, you're the Pokemon expert between the two of us. What did you get out of it?
I wouldn't say expert. I've played a lot. I've played every mainline game. I thought it was a breath of fresh air, if there's a way, not to coin the Breath of the Wild moment thing too much, but I hate that as well, because it's not. It's a very, very, very different game, but it's quite evident. I even think Link's voice is in this game. Like, it's exactly the same. It's very weird, and stuff like the torches and things that you see. Like, it's like, have they borrowed some stuff? Do you know what I mean? If Game Freak gone to Nintendo and gone, can we nick some assets just to help us along, kind of thing? Aside the point though, yeah, super refreshing. It was something that I found I couldn't really put down, and I've struggled with that in recent years in terms of just actually getting through something. It wasn't that I had to really try to get through it. It just naturally kind of progressed and happened, and I was going off the beaten track, and it's like, I wasn't just bombing through the main story. It was very much like, I'm going to explore around here. Or when you get access to the ride Pokemon, which were in the trailers, that opens up different parts of the lands, and it's like, as soon as you go up there, you'll soon realize that, oh wait, if you do that, you may well be underleveled, and everything up here is going to kick your ass. Like, it feels a little bit Final Fantasy, like Xenoblade, like type like that. Like, you wander into this area, nothing's going to stop you, but you're going to get crumbled. And I do like that there's something in there, and this isn't a spoiler, it's just a mechanic thing, but typically if you got like whited out or blacked out or whatever they call it in the different games, trying to be PC, you immediately like would lose a bunch of money and get ferried back to the Pokemon Center. It's like, but no, in this, it's like if all of your team are out, it's like you can still escape because you are damageable. We know that from the trailers as well. Like you can be damaged. Like the player character can, be fainted, so to speak, and then you're rescued and all the rest of it. But yeah, it's kind of a hotkey take. I would recommend this to, just as you said, like lapsed players, new players. I think people who enjoy Go and maybe played Let's Go, this is more for them than it is the mainline fans. I think a lot of stuff has changed for mainline fans. I think that's why hardcore mainline fans don't like it. I don't necessarily think that it's not that they don't like the game. I think it's that they don't like what it's done to the battling mechanics, and it's eroded years of the competitive side because it's changed how battles happen, full stop. And I half agree, but I like what they've done with it. It's just that it's dialed it way back to the basics, and there's some stuff like I mentioned to you, like certain moves and types being completely overpowered. Like it's got some balancing issues, but in terms of just like an adventure to pick up, to play through, to not think about anything, to actually enjoy the story unfolding, there were definitely some surprises along the way. Like you said, we'll talk about those later, but yeah, as a spoiler-free finish, I would recommend this to anybody who owns a Switch, and I think it's selling like that. It's out of stock. You said that your local store were out of stock when you picked your pre-order up. I think I haven't been to a game store, but I've been to an electrical retailer and to a supermarket in the last week, and the shelves are empty. They don't have any physical copies, so it's obviously doing all right. We know that it's the 4th biggest launch in history Pokemon wise in the UK, based on retail sales. Might I add that that's for one version. The other top 3 had 2 versions. It's like it wasn't just Legends. It's like you have, I think Sun and Moon were up there. I think Alpha, Ruby, Omega Sapphire are up there. I can't remember what the other one was. But it's doing well. It's selling well, and it's a good game. I think I said this when we spoke last week. I had a feeling that it was Nintendo being quietly confident rather than what we'd usually expect in terms of they're not giving coverage on this because they don't have any faith in it. It's like, no, we're quietly confident that this will, 1, sell itself, and 2, as you and I both think, I hope this is the future for the franchise. I hope this is the direction they go in now. And even in the mainline games, if they remove agile and strong style and all that kind of stuff, and they take the actual, I hope they take the overworld mechanics from this. Do you know what I mean? Because then I think you make the perfect game. If you've got the overworld mechanics from this and the battle mechanics from the mainline games, sign me straight up. But that's the non-spoiler stuff. Now let's get into our actual real thoughts. So yeah, spoiler warning, you've got 3, 2, 1 seconds. Let's go in. So what's your where should we start with this? I mean, let's start with, let's get the elephant out of the room. It's not a fantastic looking experience, although I found that did not hinder my time at all, except in one scenario. There are 2 caverns that you go in through this game, and I don't know if the same thing happened to you. It happened to me in handheld and docked, but basically the outline of my character had like white jaggies like all over it. I was like, what? That's taking me out of this experience. Now, please, that happened to you. I thought it was maybe just either something with the OLED switch not turning, because the technology turns everything off if it's black. So if the screen's black, like that pixel isn't on. So I was like, is it having some trouble reading the pixel out? And I was like, it's doing it on the TV, so maybe it's doing that because it's the same tech. But no, I'm pleased that happened to you. But that is literally, I think that's the only moment where it was visually irritating to me. There was no other elements that were. I think the models and the overworld sprites and stuff were great. It's a little bit jarring when you get Braviary, the flying Pokemon, and you kind of going over the lands and you'll just see like static like Pokemon like there. The pop-ins are outrageous, but that's a limitation of the machine. I think that's a limitation of the machine though. I mean, it's loading in off of like these carts that are not, it can't pass textures through at the same rate that Series X and PlayStation 5 can. We know that, so I expected a lot of pop-in. That didn't really bother me too much, but yeah, the the weird glitches in those caves. I was like, what's going on here? It was only in 2, to be fair. So
I was looking around for the last Pokemon dude. What's his name? Gigantrin or whatever.
Giratina, yeah,
that guy. And flying around and towards this mountainside, because I was like, I wonder if he's over there, because it looks like there's like a cave in there on the map. And as I was heading towards the mountain with Bravery, the mountain would just like fully like change like as it's loading in all the textures in the trees, and as I'm getting closer I'm like, oh god, all right, cool. And as I flew over the little island in the middle, I was like, oh cool, all right, there's nothing there. And as I got closer I'm like, oh, all right, well there's an item. Oh look, there's a wisp, and okay, there's a couple of things here. And you know, it didn't take me out, but I just kind of laughed. I'm like, like video games, okay, like these limitations, I'm just not used to seeing that kind of stuff, because I'm always playing on Xbox, right? So when you see this stuff happening, it's like, oh yeah. But I don't want to like give it a pass, but I found myself just enjoying it because it was a video game, you know? I wasn't like having some massive blockbuster, super high definition, like melting my face experience. It was like, I'm just playing a non-bells and whistles video game, and the gameplay and mechanics and the game loop and everything was enough, you know, and I couldn't put it down. Like I couldn't stop thinking about this game. Like when I wasn't playing it, I was like, oh yeah, I want to go like catch some more of that, you know, to finish that Pokedex, or I wonder if I can find some more of those, evolution stones or whatever to upgrade all my. This is when I was going through my EV phase, when I was like, oh, I wonder if I can just play it for a little bit and find another EV, and that'll be my like 6th EV, and then I'll get a 7th, and you know, so I can go through and evolve them all, which I did. I have them all. I was never done that before. I was like, oh yeah, you can get them all in this game, cool. So I just went around the horseshoe fields in the first zone and just kept like waiting for EVs to spawn and going through the space rifts, and like 2 or 3 of them would spawn in there sometimes. You can catch them real quick. So that was real fun. I didn't expect myself getting that kind of involved in this game, let alone a Pokemon game. It's not really my thing, right? But I'm sitting here going, yeah, cool. When's the next space rift? Oh, there's a rare Pokemon I've never seen before. You know, really, really, really cool, man. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I found myself outside of the game, checking on my phone, like during breaks or like work breaks or just at night. I'm like, like I saw that Pokemon. Where is it? Like, where can I get that? Like, is it in other levels? If it's not spawning here, can I go somewhere else and it might spawn there? Or what kind of rare Pokemon appear in rifts in this level compared to this other one? And there's a lot of changes and differences there. And I'm finding that there's a lot of depth in this game. You might take it at face value of like, oh yeah, it's just a Pokemon. Oh, you just fill out the Pokedex, just catch them all, blah, blah, blah. But it's not like that at all. There's a lot of, you actually have to do research, you know, and figure some stuff out yourself. Yeah. And or you just get involved on like social media or forums or just articles or wikis or whatever, just to go, you know, you got a hunch and you go search for it. Like I did. I had no idea what the fuck a Sylphian was, or a Umbreon, or a what's the other one? The psychic one? Espeon. And yeah, it's like I've never seen stones for those. I recognize all the other stones from Gen 1. And I'm like, oh, you got to build friendships. Okay. You got to get the Pokemon to love you or something. Like, all right. And then transform it at a certain part of the day. And one has to have a fairy move on it. And like, there's all this technical stuff. I'm like, oh, God, this is pretty cool. Yeah.
That's, I mean, I think there are elements of that is you experiencing for the first time some things that have been built in for generations. Like, Umbreon and Espeon are Gen 2. Like, so it's like it's just something that you didn't have back then that is also a welcome addition to what is there now. But on that note, like the way that you managed to get certain evolutions to happen, like that's been very cleverly addressed. So, you know, like I said to you, it's like, oh, I've got my Kadabra, my Machoke, my Haunter, and it's like, right, so the way we knew and grew up in Gen 1 of getting those to evolve was to trade them. So usually it'd be like I'd trade them to a friend and the friend would send me them back when they'd evolved, and it's like that's how you kind of did that. But there is actually an item in the game called Link Cable.
Yes.
And that is the way that you get them. So it's catering to the fact that this is a solo experience. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you have this like level 70 Kadabra that you can do nothing with. Like you can you can, farm the satchels, which I think is a great little thing. I did that yesterday. It's like I've not really got time to get into this. I'd eaten my lunch. I'd done a workout, got a shower and stuff. I was like, I've got 20 minutes left of my lunch break. And I was like, I'll just throw the Switch on. I was like, I'll just farm satchels for a little bit. And by the end of that, I had enough to evolve my Haunter into a Gengar, and I was like, this is dope. Speaking of which, I should have had a Gengar t-shirt today. It's awesome, but it's not here yet.
Damn.
It's like popping out of a Game Boy. It's an awesome t-shirt. I'll save it for next week.
Awesome.
So yeah,
I have to ask though, the link cable, does it activate the trade animation?
No, it just does the evolution animation.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. I was blown away. I'm like, this is like a lot more than I expected it to be. It's so cool.
They've done a lot of cool stuff with that. And even like the new things. So say like Cleaver. I don't know if you've got a Cleaver yet.
I do, yes.
So you have to basically, the only way to get it is to farm Gravelers and pick up, so is it like black amethyst stone or something that it drops?
Yeah, black Orgamite or something.
Orgamite, that's the one. Yeah, amethyst is that's a real stone, like in real life. I haven't managed to get one yet. I was farming Graveler last night because I was like, I got my Sizzle. So I did like Metal Coat and Evolve Cypher into Sizzle because I love Sizzle.
I'm trying to get one of those now, yeah.
What, a Metal Coat? Yeah, you just need a Sizzle or a Metal Coat it and it's job done. I didn't realise that Dusk Noir was going to be in the game. So the Reaper Cloth, if you've got a Dusclops, that'll make Dusk Noir. Like, he's one of my... I like the dark types. The dark types are my jam. So
yes.
I need to get him. I've got my Darkrai and my Umbreon. I need to get Dusk Noir. But the thing is, you can build other movesets onto these. So like, Dusk Noir can learn like Fire Punch and stuff. And it's like, right, so then you've got a fire move. I found it really enjoyable. And even at the minute, like I said, I'm stuck on the last boss. Like, the way I've grouped my team, it's having real trouble with Earth Power. Like, it just shatters everything in one hit because, ground moves are OP as hell for some reason.
Yes. Noticed.
So, but I did get, it's like I got a Clefable, like an Alpha Clefable, and it's at like level 65. So I think its fairy moves might be able to help me in that scenario. But figuring out, do you know what I mean? Like the type disadvantages and advantages that have been there for a long time, they're still there, but it's proving quite challenging, even for me as a veteran of the series, to figure out the best way to approach it, which I think is genius in itself. So yeah, I'm really, really having a good time with that kind of stuff.
What I appreciated what you're talking about there is someone who's not as involved in the Pokemon games, was when you're looking through your Pokemon list when you're in a battle and you want to swap out, and it shows you the move list and like what's effective and what's not, and even when you're fighting it has that as well. And I was like, oh, thank God, because you're no longer having to go, is this gonna work or not? It'll just tell you, which I was very happy about, because there's sometimes, like when I was fighting forgot the name already. So the three last bosses of the game, particularly the last one, there was a moment where I was like, do I do this attack or not? Because it wasn't like a high percentage of accuracy, but it's super powerful, and it was going to be super effective. And I was like one hit away from this guy from beating me as well, and it was my last Pokemon. And I was like, I'm going to take a stab at it, and like I managed to land it. But it was those moments where I was like, I had the information in front of me, and I knew that if I got this, I will win. And it's not like a risk of like, well, I'll just try this move and hope for the best. So really, it catered to that, which I appreciated very much. But yeah, like my team, like just to bounce off your comment about having a bit of trouble with the last one, I thought I was going to, right? Because I just picked Pokemon that I liked and they were big, and I had like a Pokemon that cover each kind of category, right? So Snorlax, I've got at level 66, but he was my front man for the whole goddamn game. As soon as I got him, he was my front man, and me and him, we pretty much walked through the game. And the other Pokemon in my team were either just XP whores that just sat there growing with me, or I'd swap them out to then revive Snorlax, right? And then I've got he's an alpha, and I've got an alpha Electivire, a Magmortar, which isn't an alpha yet. I want to find one. An alpha Walrein, an alpha Steelix, and an alpha Torterra. So I've got like all my elements and shit covered there. So if I got into a hairy moment, I'll just swap one out and I'm good. But otherwise, Snorlax is is the bouncer of the world. It was great. And he took on all the mythics. He took on all the legendaries and shit, on his own.
Yeah.
So use him. Highly recommend.
Even doing that part, like the getting the mythicals and all that stuff. Like I had because I've got save data for Brilliant Diamond, I managed to go get Darkrai. So it was Darkrai and Electivire. So like I had status Pokemon. It was like I could either sleep them or paralyze them. And I found that even with the mythics, if you got them down to kind of their last third of health, so either like pretty close to red, but they could still be yellow, and if you then statused them and one Ultra Ball, like I was just one ball in everything. I must admit that was slightly jarring because typically, having just played through Brilliant Diamond, like the mythicals and in previous gens, like they're supposed to be difficult to catch, and I didn't feel like any of them were specifically difficult to catch. They were super easy. I had more trouble in like just general overworld fights than I did with the mythicals, and I think that is something that we need to level as a criticism. There was not really any challenge. This now is the only time that I've felt challenged in the final fight. And again, we did spoiler warnings ages ago, but Giratina and Volo, who kind of follows you around for the whole game as your little merchant buddy, kind of helping you collect the plates in the end game, turns out to, surprise, surprise, just like Commander Komodo did, turned out to be a douchebag. And we should have seen the foreshadowing with all that stuff, because like the Galaxy team, like Team Galaxy, are the bad guys in Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, really?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's no Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan. To me, Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan are basically you choose Diamond or Pearl, and that's like having that choice as a Gen 4 player. It's like, do you play Diamond or do you play Pearl? So they went on that very heavily. But yeah, Team Galaxy are the bad guys in Diamond and Pearl. And yeah, again, they're after kind of the space-time rift and the power of space-time, which is what the story of Dialga and Palkia is about. I'm going to give you a tip here, not a tip, something just for you personally to do, and I think it's on Amazon Prime. Watch I think it's the 10th or 11th movie. I'll send you the name of it later, but it's the one with Dialga and Palkia and Darkrai in it, and it's all about the story of space-time, and it's a really, really good Pokemon movie. Like, it's literally my favorite one. Like, it's so good, and it does a lot to explain it. Also, the one about Arceus does a lot to explain this game too, and it's like they made these things years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, these movies are a decade old, and the one about Arceus is set kind of way back when, and even the Pokeballs are the same with the little zip on them and the kind of scheme. Awesome. Like, they're exactly the same. So like, go back and watch those movies if you're really into like this lore, because this is one of the reasons, I know that I'm kind of going off on a tangent now, but why I said to you about how much I really enjoy Gen 4. Like, it's one of my favorite generations, if not my favorite. And a lot of this stuff is why, like, a lot of what they did with the mythical Pokemon, there are notably more mythicals and legendaries in Gen 4 than any other generation, but they actually gave them the backstory, and it's why Brilliant Diamond and Pearl is so disappointing, because they could have evolved on it like they did with Alpha Ruby and Mega Sapphire. Like, they took the Hoenn region and kind of expanded it, whereas this is just it's a cash grab, but that's a completely different game and aside the point. But yeah, in terms of like the storytelling, check those out. I know that, so we're both aware, right, that to face Arceus we have to collect I'm not sure how, but is it that you have to have completed the Dex entry for everyone, or is it that you have to have seen them? Because I'm still confused on that, because if it's that you have to have seen them, because if you look at your Dex entries, there's 3 icons at the top right. So there's one for seen, there's one for captured, and there's one for a completed Dex entry. And I'm not sure which one of those 3 you have to have finalized to go after Arceus, because
all right. I've got the quest description. You have obtained the Azure Flute, which is said to be the blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Current objective: seek out all Pokemon there are to meet.
Right.
Then play your flute upon the So
you have to encounter every mon. You don't have to capture, and you don't have to Dex entry. So it's to encounter. So if you go to your save file and try and save, it'll say like number seen or encountered or something like that. That's the
Pokedex,
number.
Yeah, on the cover of my Pokedex says I've seen 187 and I've caught 159.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I think is there 200, 220 or something in the whole game.
No idea.
A lot of those are your evolutions, so that's where, you know, the farming the satchels thing is going to come in, because that's your way to get these special evolutions. I need to go get my EVs. I might do that today at lunch. But do you see what I mean? This is a case and testament. Like, we're in the middle of recording a show about, like, our thoughts on the game, and we're both just thinking about playing the game, even though we've finished it. That is the biggest testament that we can give to this experience. That there's no bigger one that we can give to it. So we've talked about the mechanics, the jarring visuals at times, and kind of giving our thoughts on the story, then the way that evolves, and it does play into, you're right about, like, Gen 4. So what do you think to as some of these Pokemon are new to you? I think only about 5 are genuinely actually new, and they're just variations. There's no real, like, actual new Pokemon in the game. So I know them all. But what's your experience been like encountering some of these for the first time? What do you think to the selection of Pokemon in the game?
Yeah, I couldn't give two tosses about all the insects and bug Pokemon, like, and the bats and the birds. I'm like, whatever, man. But it's cool as you got into more of the rocky areas and the snowy areas, and I was pleased to go to the volcano, and it's just like covered in magma. So I'm like, fuck yes, you know. And I did see a lot of familiar faces, but even the ones that I didn't recognize, I kind of felt like, okay, these are in the vein of, you know, that, like Sudowoodo or whatever it is, whatever that tree thing is.
Yeah,
that, like, when you come across him, he just, like, goes still like a tree. Like, you're not going to see him, and just, like, plonk a Pokeball in his head, and he's done. That was hilarious. And there's these, like, massive, like, hippo Pokemon in there. I'm like, wow, they're cool. They got
Hippowdon.
Yeah, those. Yeah, I caught a couple of alphas of those, and
have you seen both variants of it? There's two colorways of it.
Yeah, got both of the alphas for that. I saw some massive, like, Goku monkey type of, like, it was an alpha, but it looks like Firestorm from DC. Like, it's got this fire hair head, and it's like white suit, and he's a monkey. I'm like, the fuck is that? I caught that.
Infernape. So he's actually a Gen 4 starter. So you know, like Torterra that you caught. So there's a Turtwig. Yeah, did you get Turtwig? Because he's usually, if you get Torterra to spawn, there'll always be a baby with it. So you know, like where Monferno is. Sorry, so Monferno, you'll see a Chimchar. And I've yet to see where Piplup and Empoleon are, Piplup and Primplup are, because they're the original Gen 4 starters. They were the trio of Gen 4 starters, and they're all in the game. But yeah, you'll encounter an alpha version of their second forms, and they're always at a level whereby if you level them at 1, they'll evolve into their final form straight away. But yeah, I did the same thing, and I've yet to... I keep fainting Monferno. Like, I'm struggling to get it just to a slither of health. I just keep one-shotting it. And Torterra I've only seen once, and yeah, I don't. Have you seen?
A new favorite of mine.
Yeah, you're a fan. You've obviously evolved him into this final form, right? Oh, Torterra is the final form, is it? It's Grottle and then Torterra.
I caught the alpha for Torterra just out in the wild. I saw it. I'm like,
cool.
What the hell is that awesome looking thing?
It looks like an island.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'll have that. Thank you very much. Yeah, and that Monfernape, whatever the thing you just described, that thing looks like a DC Comics character. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm going to catch that guy.
Did you get him and did you evolve him? Because Infernape looks even more cool.
I think it is Infernape. I think I'll have to have a look.
The one I've seen in the wild is a Monferno. It's the second evolutionary stage. Maybe it isn't Infernape. I can't remember. But yeah,
I didn't realize Electabuzz had an evolution, and
Electivire is sick. I really like Electivire.
Yeah, and Magmortar looks like he looks like a Mega Man, one of the bots that you have to fight in Mega Man.
I was going to say it's hilarious that he's got a Mega Man arm as well, like, that just shoots fire. It's quite cool.
He looks like a Mega Man dude. Steelix is awesome. I caught an alpha one of those. Like, everything I've got is an alpha except for Magmortar, and Rhydon has a
Rhypheria. Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, Rhypheria. I was like, shit, that thing's badass. I got one of those too. And so there's all these, like, they do have a lot of Gen 1 stuff in there, but there's new stuff for them. But
there's a lot of Gen 2 as well. There's a lot of Gen 2 stuff in there.
Yeah, but I think Torterra at the moment is probably my standout for one of the newer ones that I don't know about. I just really liked it. Like, I went the whole game with a what's the Leafeon? Oh my god. Yeah, because I'm like, I need a grass type, and I got an Eevee and a Leaf Stone really early in the game. And I was like, that'll be my grass type until I came across this Torterra. I'm like, yes, thank you very much. That'll be my grass dude. But yeah, I'm not familiar with all the names. I'd have to flick through them all, but there's some pretty cool looking Pokemon in here, man. Chimchar, Infernape. Yeah, there it is. I've got an Infernape Alpha. I got a Decidueye Alpha.
I actually haven't seen it. I haven't seen the Decidueye line yet. I know that the other starters that you don't choose, all of the starters from they're in the game somewhere, but I haven't come across any of them yet. You're a good you're a good 15, 20 hours more in than I am though.
Yeah.
So I've still got some playing to do. My worry has been like I'm that invested, but with like Horizon and Elden Ring and these other games on the horizon, pardon the pun, it is like I just want to keep coming. But it strikes me as a game, and I don't know if it's the same for you. I'm sorry, just to finish my own point off, I genuinely like the selection and choice of Pokemon that are in the game. It is it's Gen 4, but there are some later generations that have had a couple just kind of sprinkled in, which I do quite like. The ones they've chosen have been really, really cool. It still blows my mind that you've not seen Sudowoodo before though, because he came out in like 2000. He's 22 years old.
I might have seen him in the anime at some point, but I thought that was a pretty interesting looking Pokemon. And Spheal, oh my god, Spheal. You know when you go to that beach level for the first time and they're all over the beach rolling around? Like, oh, these things are adorable as hell. I want them all. I caught a bunch. These things are hilarious. I want like a massive like plush ball thing of one.
Yeah,
hilarious.
They are funny. And the I've lost my train of thought now because we've gone back onto
Ursaluna. That was the other one that I really liked. That massive bear.
Ursaring, yeah, and then you can evolve him into the thing that you ride.
Yeah, that thing. I like that. So I'm just trying to remember some of these names because I'm not like retaining them.
Yeah,
like
you're not au fait with them. It's certainly a great experience, and I do think it is going to survive the zeitgeist slightly. So Pokemon's got a really long tail. All of the kind of the mainline games stick around until the next mainline games because they've got the competitive scene and all that kind of stuff. That's why like people were maybe concerned that you kind of finish this and be done with it. But much as you said around the being finished with it but still wanting to pick it back up, like do you genuinely feel like you're in it to complete the Pokedex, like fully complete it, like 100% of the game?
That was a point I noted down. I am compelled to complete the Pokedex. Like if I just have to see them, if that's enough to get, I just want to get to the final boss, right? And if that means I can fill out the decks by just like, all right, I've seen them all. Cool. But I'm also still at a point where I feel like I want to catch them all. I'm going through my Pokemon field farm thing, my boxes where all the Pokemon are in, and I'm actually like organizing them. I'm getting to that point where I'm like, okay, this page is for like my mains. This page is for all the like the super rare like mythics and exotic type Pokemons, and like this page is going to be for all my spares in case people want to trade, and the rest of them are like individuals of things that I've caught. I'm getting to that point where I'm like, I think I might
deeply invested yes. in the experience. I think I will, just by the nature of a limitation of time and too much to do and play, I think I'll do the scene. I'll actively keep going until I've seen them all because I do want to face off against the game's title character, and I'm assuming he's catchable. I mean, he's never actually been, I'm saying it's an entity, it's not even gendered. Not trying to be woke, it just actually isn't gendered, it's like a god. It has never been catchable or accessible before by legal means in any game. It's one of very, very few that's never been like actually attainable in game. And in the original Diamond and Pearl, there was an Azure Flute and there was a post-game event, but it was never released. So it's like you could hack into the event and play it, but you could never actually legally, legitimately do it. So I'm hoping that it's legitimately catchable. Interested to see kind of that pan out. We did a lot of hunting for plates, so I'm assuming it is, because why else would we have those plates?
Yeah, I will say I felt a little ripped off, right? After you gather all the plates, I came prepared. Like when you get the flute, the big proper flute to call Arceus down, and I went back to my camp. I got all of my like the legendary mythic ones, like all the ones that look like horses and shit. The last bunch of ones that you catch that are like epic spiky beings and shit. I got all of them in my in my team. Even the last one, I can't remember the fucking name. Giratina, I'll remember one day. And when I got him, I'm like, cool. I've got 6 of these spiky exotic mythics beans and shit in my pockets. I'm gonna go up to that mountain and I'm gonna call that bastard down. And it's like, no, seek out all Pokemon. I'm like, oh man, really? I've got all these godlike beings in my pockets. Come on, bring it on. I was so ready to do it.
But I guess that's it. Yeah. I guess it's a story thread, isn't it? Because it's the whole catch them all narrative, and it's Arceus is the creator. So it's like you have to have seen all of his you have to have seen all of its creations to progress, which it's kind of it does make sense.
I do like the lore though, man. I was pretty invested in
Sinnoh's lore, which in Gen 4 it's called Sinnoh. It's just like they call the god Almighty Sinnoh, and it's like it only seems like Volo knows that. It's like, no, it's Arceus is its name. Like that, and then the weird witch lady whose name eludes me from the
I want to know why
camp.
you brought there. You start the game in a void and you're like, where am I? I don't remember shit. And Arceus is talking to you.
Yeah. Maybe you'll find out when you talk to him at the end of the game. Maybe that's a reason for us to try and get to it. Maybe explain why he pulled us through space and time.
Yeah, I don't want this to be a Halo Legendary type situation where I'm never going to finish this game on Legendary, so I'm going to YouTube the ending. I want to actually do this.
I don't think it's not usually something that does like the usual thing for when you get to the very, very, very end of a typical mainline Pokemon game is that there is some trainer that's really, really difficult to beat at the end waiting for you. Like it gives me that would be quite cool, but there's nobody for them to lean on because of the era that it's set in. Thinking Gold and Silver, like you eventually face Red atop Mount Silver, and it's like he's got all of Red's Pokemon, and it's like, this is cool as fuck, but they're all like level 88 to 100 or something silly like that. But I kind of think Volo is that fight, because it's the only fight that is somewhat challenging until you realize his team combo, and then you can pretty much just 1-for-1 him and you're fine. I mean, that's what I need to do. I need to make sure that when I'm 1-for-1ing him, that I'm setting my team up to super effective hit as he knocks them out, because like I said, Earth Power, which all of his seem to know, just one-shot me. So it's not fun. But I'll get there and figure that out. So we've been going for nearly 45 minutes. I think it's time to hit those bullet points. What else have you got on your list that you wanted to talk about?
The Jubilife Village theme is stuck in my head. I don't know about you, but I can't say
it is. I can't say it's stuck in my head. I can't even think of it.
Oh man, I'm hearing it. Like even when I'm not playing the game, or when I'm at work and I'm like writing in a ticket or something, and it's like, like, oh my god, stop, please. It's a good song. I mean, that's a good sign. It's at least it wasn't like the Halloween theme during Monster Hunter World last year. Oh my god, I hated that. Every time I went to the hub world, I'm like, please stop with this music. I hate it. It's not like that at all. Catching alphas are my favorite thing to do in the game. I love hunting them down. I'll stop if I'm flying overhead on Bravery and I see an alpha on the ground. I'm like, oh, I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm flying down to catch that fucking thing, and I always do. The different balls in the game, I have mass produced as much as I can of the Giga balls.
Yep.
And the leadened balls. So I'm just carrying those around because you're almost guaranteed to catch of anything you're gonna come across without fighting it sometimes. Or if they're higher level, at least you've got ample time or ample chance to catch it. I think that was the only couple points that we didn't really touch on that I wanted to bring up. But I want a replica ball. I'm gonna find one somewhere. Like Etsy. I'm going to go.
I was going to say, get someone to make you one on Etsy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm really like enraptured with this game and the aesthetics and the world of it. I would, if they never go back to the modern era, you know, I'd be fine. Like if they stay in this kind of olden timey, you know, technology is not much of a thing era, I would be fine with it. But who knows? They might go into the future or something next time. You know, we're in the past now. We'll go into the future on the next one. Who knows? But
I mean, yeah, I guess that gives us a point to actually throw it to, like, what do we think the future of the franchise is? Do we think that this is how they're going to move forward now? Do you see more of this type of experience on the horizon? Because
Nintendo of America, I noticed, were the only ones that made any statement that I saw that was shared around before release of we'll wait to see how this is received kind of comments. But Nintendo of Japan are like, nope, this is the new mainline Pokemon. Yep, enjoy. This is how it is going forward. You know, they were like pretty upfront about it. You know, which gives me hope now that I've played it. Like, if this is the case, if this is not just a sideline or another sub line in the main line or whatever, like if you're still going to have your main traditional one and then this, I'm more than happy just to stay on the side and play that line. I have zero interest in playing like Brilliant Diamond and Pearl, like one of those kind of games. It's just a bit too much for me, I think. As much as I want to, like enjoying this, I want to play Brilliant Diamond, Brilliant Shiny Pearl, the fuck it's called. After playing this, I'm more interested in picking that one up, but I don't want to because I know it's so much more, and the art style and all that kind of stuff. It's not really my bag.
The art style is really bad. It's not great.
Yeah. But if this is it going forward, sign me the hell up. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I think we've got a resounding you should play this. We've both enjoyed our time. We're both going to carry on playing it. I'm going to wrap this up more so because, like, I've got light coming through my window that I need to sort out. It's making me look very like I'm starting to disappear into the void. That, and it's nearly lunch break overtime for me. So thank you for coming and talking pokies with me.
Always a pleasure. Chunt.
Yes. We've both thoroughly enjoyed our time with it. That's all you can really take from it, and I think we both recommend it. You should probably play it. I don't know what it's like over in the regions where you are, but you can get it heavily discounted, even at launch here in the UK, so you should. And just take it for an experience that it's going to be. We both went in with really low expectations. I think we've both come out incredibly impressed. So if you want to take a leaf out of our book, do the exact same thing. We will be back soon with a normal mainline podcast. I'm probably both still going to be playing some Pokemon. So
yeah, I will be, yes.
Happy Friday, Chunt. Happy catching alphas, yes. And I'll talk to you soon.
Indeed, Toodle Pip.